And in this video, we take a look at some information that the police received on the 11th of December 1995, which may suggest that Craig Rolfe was an unintended target on the evening of December the 7th.
Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. The following police printout comes from the 11th of December 1995, where it states the following. Action number A644. I have seen someone today who has made remarks re the shooting. It's only hearsay. Person who gave me the information is blind. They got a taxi from Shenfield to Highwood Hospital, Brentwood, ordered taxi from Rank. The driver of the taxi said he knew people who had been shot, said it wasn't drugs related and that the young person shouldn't have been there. That was a mistake. I'm concerned re come back on the taxi passenger as the pickup was from their address. Okay, now the first thing that catches my eye regarding this piece of information is the fact that supposedly Craig Rolfe wasn't supposed to be there that night, and that brings me back to the statement of Donna Jagers, Craig Rolfe's girlfriend. It's in her statement that she states the following. I understood that Michael Steele had been asked by a London-based drugs firm to import 30 kilos of Charlie, and I believed that he was going to bring it in by plane from Holland. He had told Pat Tate that he was going to be given £50,000 as an upfront payment to take to Holland, and he was going to bring the Charlie back in the company with a member of the London firm. The idea was that Pat Tate and Tony Tucker would rob the firm of the Charlie when it arrived over here. Steele had stated that he wanted to share it between them and had told the firm that he was going to land near Clacton. Craig told me that Steele was planning to actually land in South Essex, but I never knew exactly where this was likely to be. Craig, Tony and Pat had previously obtained a machine gun from a man called Mad Mick Bowman, and the details of this are subject to a previous statement. Tate and Tucker were going to use the gun on the man from the firm in order to take the Charlie. I knew that they'd made sure the gun worked, but I did not know how far they were planning to go when they robbed the firm. Steele was going to land the plane and Tate and Tucker were then going to take the complete load. It was going to be split eventually, 10 kilos each, and was going to be taken to John McCarthy. Craig told me that McCarthy was going to pay them nearly £1 million for the load, which was for Tate or Tucker to divide. Not long after Craig had told me about this, he told me that Tate and Tucker had decided that he was going to drive the load away once it had been taken and go to McCarthy's with it. They had told Craig that they intended to rip Steele off by cutting 3 kilos of the cocaine into 10 kilos of impure. This would have resulted in Tate and Tucker having 27 kilos between them. The remaining 3 kilos was going to be taken to Mick Bowman and he was going to cut it for them. I do not know what the arrangements were to get the 3 kilos to Bowman or to get the 10 kilos of impure back to Steele. By this time I was getting very worried by Craig's involvement and told him that I didn't want him to have any part in it. He told me that Steele didn't know that he was going to be driving, and he convinced me that he wasn't as heavily involved as the other two in what was going to happen. He also talked about the money which was likely to be coming their way and how that would enable us to go ahead with whatever plans we wanted. I realised that I wasn't going to be able to talk him out of it, and albeit I really didn't want him to go through with it, but I just gave up in the end. I believed that by this time he was in too deep. Okay, so when we take a look there at Donna Jagers' statement, I guess you could tie this in with that information that was passed on to the police, the fact that Craig Rolfe wasn't supposed to be there, that was an accident. The people that were committing this crime did not know that Craig Rolfe was going to be there. What purpose did it really serve to kill Craig Rolfe, etc., etc.? But one of my biggest issues with this case with the fact that Michael Steele and Jack Holmes are supposedly guilty of triple murder is the way in which this crime was, I guess, planned. Let's for one moment put ourselves in the shoes of Michael Steele or even Jack Holmes potentially. Now, when you're arranging the meet for that evening, when you're trying to get Tony Tucker and Pat Tate, either one of those or both of them, to a certain place at a certain time, is there not a huge monumental risk there of those two people telling either a loved one, a girlfriend, bringing along a girlfriend even, with, to the trip? If it's just a case of scoping out some field, there's no sort of violence going to be taking place, there's no deals going down, essentially. Is that not a big risk to take when considering committing triple murder? And for me, the biggest risk of all would be, as I just said there, that one of these individuals would divulge this information to someone close to them. Now, how many deals did Donna Jagers go with Craig Rolfe? Quite a few. She even went to get the machine gun from Mad Mick Bowman at the services. She was present when Rolfe did many deals or collected much of the product that Steele had on him at the time. Her statement is littered with instances of being with Craig Rolfe and also in the company of Michael Steele. So what happens at that point when you realise that Craig Rolfe is driving the Range Rover that evening? Would it not click in your head that it's going to be pretty obvious that he said exactly where he's going, who he's going to meet that night? And this is what people talk about the lack of forensic evidence, the lack of DNA evidence, the phone evidence. The people talk about all the evidence that's actually in front of our own eyes. But what I like to do, and I think one of the biggest sticking points, is the fact that one of these individuals could have easily have mentioned who they were going to meet. And according to Donna Jagers' statement, that is exactly what happened. She mentions there that they were going to meet Mick the pilot, Michael Steele, she picked him out of an identity parade. Of course she did, because she was with Craig Rolfe on the numerous occasions that he met up with Steele. And I think for me this is, as I say, one of the more stranger issues. Now, does that go to discredit any involvement whatsoever concerning Holmes and Steele? Of course it doesn't. I mean, they could have got Tucker, Tate and Rolfe to a certain location for somebody else. Maybe they were being threatened. Maybe there's a mystery third party somewhere down the line here. But in terms of the bare basics, the actual lure to the lane itself, the 2 p.m. phone call that goes to Tony Tucker to supposedly arrange the meeting for that night, is there not a huge risk here of someone being in the Range Rover that shouldn't be? Not only that, but we're told that Steele was in the Range Rover with Tucker, Tate and Rolfe. But what about Jack Holmes? He's down the lane. He's actually waiting down Workhouse Lane. What would happen if during that drive they picked up somebody, they picked up a girlfriend, there was a change of plan at the last minute, someone needed picking up because they're going to this restaurant booking for 8 p.m. To me, it just doesn't make any sense in terms of how you would actually plan out this triple murder. The location is perfect. The timing is perfect. Everything seems to be matching up perfectly in terms of the murder itself and how it was committed. Clean, efficient, fast, great location. Combine the time with when there's normally a shoot going on there. All of that makes perfect sense. Yet we're led to believe that they simply called up Tony Tucker, said, we're meeting down there, or pick me up, whatever it is. We're going to look at a field. Surely the first thing that they're going to do, potentially, is tell someone close to them exactly where they're going. What's Rolfe's girlfriend going to say? Oh, where are you going, Craig? Oh, going to meet Mick. Going to meet Mick Steele. Mick Steele, that guy, that we've seen on many occasions. I'm going to meet him. And when I don't return, just remember, I'm going to meet Mick Steele. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. Either that is incredibly poor planning and a massive oversight in terms of Steele and Holmes during the actual planning process, or that simply can't be true. And some people have even factored in that it would take Craig Rolfe, Tony Tucker and Pat Tate to be there. It needed all three individuals to be there in case there was any comeback if you, say, killed one out of the three of them. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. Do you believe that Craig Rolfe was actually supposed to be there that night? Was this a last-minute changing of plan and Craig wanted to be there? Did the gunman know all along that there was going to be three individuals, Rolfe, Tucker and Tate, and all three of them needed to be disposed of.